Everyone. Today I would like to show you some of the tips and tricks how I use round knife. So I have two models here, two sizes. Larger I like to use for skiving and for larger patterns. This one, it used to be bigger, but I have it for over 7 years, so it's getting a little bit almost too small because it only sits in your palm and your index finger needs to be behind the blade. Obviously it's getting almost to the edge of the blade, but it's still okay. I still have about maybe a year of use, and this actually has two different angles, so it's good for detail work as well. The second thing is, when you're choosing your knife for the size, is the stock of the blade. You want to have the thinnest blades possible. So this one is perfect, very thin. It glides through thick leather very easily without resistance. And this one, it was quite thick here, and what I have done, I reground this about inch and a quarter of the blade to have it thinner, so there is less resistance, and then I resharpen it. When you're sharpening on the stone, or I actually like to use the belt grinder, about 1000 grit, go in circular motion on the stone, and very low angle, 16 degrees, the lowest angle you can get, and better the knife, better the steel. I like the steel on this one too, even it is a little bit thicker, so I have more body in it, and very good control on this one. And when you finish your course sharpening day to day, I use just the leather strop. Here's the rough out for coarse grounding or polishing with black emery compound, and then I have a smooth leather with green compound, which is more fine, for finer finish, and I'm only pulling away from center to tips, other side, and when I finish, I just lift up. I don't roll, lift up. Once you start to roll, it will dull the blade. And if you get the feel for it, you can go faster and then turn. Few strokes, that's all you need. Sometimes I only do a little bit on the tips if I haven't used the center part. Just concentrate only on tips. So, when I have a piece of leather here, we start with straight lines. With straight lines, I like to tip my blade more forward for easy following the straight line. Then the second thing, I like to, if you just push your blade forward using your arm, you're going to tire yourself a lot if you're doing it all day. If you're cutting the whole 2 sides for a saddle or 4 sides. So I like to do lock my elbow into my hips, like that, and actually using the whole body. Not just my wrist, my shoulder, my elbow, but I give them some break and I spread the pressure, the power. I have the whole body to push. The second thing is, my left hand obviously needs to be out of the way from the blade from when it goes, but I help with my thumb. Not so much when I'm doing straight lines. I can also rock forward. Okay, you can start here and you can finish rocking. Going over this, I don't recommend. You don't have the power, the control. I only kind of finish, or you can do rocking like this, but don't cut this way. The cutting part for straight lines is somewhere here, and for tight curves it will be here, the tip. Now I'm going to do some tight curves. So I can draw just a simple line. Now, actually, I have a piece here I can do with you. I can find it. Spur straps. This will be even better. I have some slobber straps here. So for curves, I tilt my blade backwards, so there is less blade in the leather, so we can go easier to do the turns. For straight lines forward and for curves backwards. And now I'm using my left thumb to push the blade. My elbow is locked again in my hips. I go slower now. And even if I have my fingers here, I won't cut myself because the blade goes only as far as my thumb will push it. So I'm spreading the power even more, using my left thumb as a guide to push it. And I'm tilting the handle down towards the bench, so it's minimum blade in the leather. And this leather was compressed, so it's a little bit tougher. Some leathers are easier, some leathers are more difficult to cut. Just check if I have missed some part here. There you go. Okay. So again, tilting back, using my left thumb as a guide, my right elbow is locked, and I can do this all day. If you plan to do this job for years, you have to find a way how to make it easier and having more control following the line. So that's perfect. If you want to go even tighter, I recommend when you're having a pattern like this, there's a little holster here, I like to use punches. So I made my pattern to fit this punch in here and this curve to fit the other punch. I have 1 1/4 and 3/4, my two punches, so I can show you this piece. Instead of cutting everything by knife, punches will make a very clean cut, and all I have to do is just to connect them. I'm gonna punch these two now, right here next. Okay, punches are cut. Now I just do the rest. To clamp these lines. Pushing with my thumb. Just be careful now in this tight corner here. Okay, nice and clean cut. So this will be the general cutting, and all these tips help me to work more faster, easier. I can do it all day without getting tired. And other thing is, if you're having a large piece of leather, if I can find some scraps like here, and you're having pretend this is the whole side, and you scribe a line, and instead of cutting everything on the bench and having the resistance of the bench going slow, I actually hang it off the bench, and I cutting about here, and this is going below the leather in the air. And always keep the 90-degree angle, obviously. I will probably, if I have the whole side, go from this side, and to release the pressure, I will, as I start cutting, I will pull away, but this is too small piece, it will just fall apart, it wouldn't hold. So I will usually cut from this side and pull away the piece I'm cutting, the narrow piece, and that releases the pressure. Same if you're cutting, I like to kind of pull them apart if this is not a very tough leather, but sometimes when it is, I just to get some more relief and pull these aside, so the cut is more open. It won't bind my knife. So that'll be the cutting, and I obviously love my just move my camera here, my blade for skyling. Here's some leather which is cased. Just cut off a fresh edge. So either direction, I have my my thumb the same way, but I tilt my blade, and I'm not trying to go just forward. You don't have too much control. Always try to have some angle at the blades to do a slicing motion. So I'm going to the side. If it's very thick leather, I go in sections and I just go and get the half of it, and then finish it until the feather edge like this, paper thin. And you can choose then the angle. If you want 45, if you want to have more graduated angle, you can just mark about an inch or an inch and a half, whatever, and just get onto that line and clean it up, make it as smooth as possible. This is just needs practice, nothing else, just practice. Again, I have my free hand behind the blade, holding my piece, and always going to side. And I like to do to the right, and once I think it's all smooth, I go then the left, and this will make it even smoother. We'll take out all the high spots that I left when I go in one direction, and I have a nice, clean, skived edge that I can work. And then if you want to go even wider, you can just take more to the line, and then the transition needs to be smooth. There shouldn't be any bumps. It should be all smooth, straight curve. So you can practice on any scraps you have. If you intend to make saddles, there's lots of skiving there, and just cleaning up. If you go too hard, and now I do a mistake, if you go too hard, you're gonna gouge out the leather. So always be careful not to do that. So these are the main things how I use the round knife. Skiving can be done on I was working on granite here. I try not to use marble, that's softer and can chip out and dull my blade. And you can do some skiving cuts. You can do 45-degree cuts on a regular cutting surface. Again, depending on the thickness of the leather, you can do it once or twice. You can and practice again in both directions. Okay, very versatile knife. I know some people are scared of it, but if you get some practice and follow these tips, you'll be amazed how you could live without it. So thanks for watching and have a great day.